Thank you very much. I want to start off by saying clearly, well, that the Bank of Industry does not engage in financing primary production in the agricultural space, and neither do we finance housing construction. What we do majorly is value addition. In the agricultural space, we add value, we will finance projects that process agricultural produce. And we know that in this country, there are a lot of post-harvest losses. And that's as a disincentive to farmers. They don't want to produce. When they produce, they're not able to sell. But where you finance an industry that can easily purchase products that are harvested, then it's an incentive for farmers to produce more. Then they can add more from their harvests. And on the housing sector, what we do is to finance projects that make inputs to housing delivery. As we all know, the National Industrial Revolution Plan was launched in February by the federal government, and one of the principles is that Nigeria should invest in areas where we have comparative advantage. And agriculture is an area where we have comparative advantage. So processing agricultural produce is of emphasis under NIRP. Under NIRP as well, we're supposed to support housing delivery, right? So we finance projects that will help us achieve our target of shrinking the gap, because the housing gap is about 17 million, and we need to build more houses in this country. And the more we're able to domesticate our production capacities, the better is this for Nigeria. Now, I need to give credit to Baba Basodo, who is here. He launched the Bank of Industry in 2001. And luckily, he was able to appoint the first two managing directors of the bank, who were able to place the bank on very solid foundation. I will go back to this because earlier in the day, the executive, earlier in the day, we had the executive from the European Investment Bank. I connected with him a lot when he was telling us how to access the facilities, because under NIDB, where I also worked before, the Bank of Industry, we did access lines of credit from the European Investment Bank, and they were called AQs at that time, European Currency Units, as well as African Development Bank. Now, talking about the launch of the Bank of Industry, Dr. Kande Yunkela was the director of Vilino in Nigeria between 2000 and 2003. He also made 10 inputs into the establishment of the Bank of Industry. Dr. Yunkela, we are grateful to you, and he's our contribution to this summit. If you see our logo on the back, you didn't give the governor cash, but the governor gave me a mandate that I will deliver Dr. Kande Yunkela on account of his performance at the Nigerian Investment Summit during the Olympic Games in London, where the deputy governor represented the governor and Bimbo was there. And they called him to say, that man who made the best presentation at Dorchester and brought down the roof and was a standing ovation. The governor wants to bring him to the States. And we brought him here. That underlies the partnerships we enter into delivering our mandates. We have a lot of domestic and foreign development partners. And Ogun State government, under the leadership of His Excellency, the last 3 years, has emerged the Bank of Industry's foremost development partner. He loves his people. And when the executive of EIB was saying that he believes Ogun State is ready for business, he meant what he was saying. He was sworn in May, and by July he gave us a check of 500 million naira to establish a fund to lend to small and medium enterprises in Ogun State. And 70% of the beneficiaries of that fund are into agro-processing. So that underlies the attention he pays to agro-processing, and that's why we're here today. We lend to big enterprises, yes, but only big enterprises that have small producers or small and medium enterprises in their value chain. Because that's one thing we do to de-risk lending to agricultural processors. Because most of them are not able to fulfill the requirements typically. But we now say a company like Nestle, for example, and Honeywell, before we're able to lend to you, we must ensure payments through some of these large corporates. And therefore the smaller ones, we encourage them to form cooperatives where they mutually guarantee one another. Most of the beneficiaries, they guarantee one another and they will lend to them as single digit. Because we lend typically at 10%, But the governor said, look, my own lending will be at 0%. So that brought down the interest rate to 5% to beneficiaries in the state. Like Dr. Yunkela said, Nigerians are natural entrepreneurs. In Ogun State, IDEA said that that fund is performing very, very well. The non-performing loans portfolio at risk is single digit, which means that about 95% of the beneficiaries are repaying. They are not seeing this as government affairs. So they are responding to the governor's motivation, and we are also encouraged to support entrepreneurs in Ogun State. Now, coming back to the theme of this presentation, we're talking about investment potentials, investment opportunities and potentials. One of your illustrious sons, Ambassador Olagunju, who was also a contemporary at African Church Grammar School, I was with him last month, and he's trying to get some Turkish investors. So these are some of the low-hanging fruits. He's trying to get them to come and invest. I mean, he works for every state in Nigeria, but it so happened that when I was there, we visited a factory where they produce MDFs, medium-density fiber boards that are used in construction, and they process wood, they chip them into powder form, and then to produce panel doors. It's a very, very extensive project. So, Your Excellency, is for you to lose that project because the Ogun is working very hard to bring it to Ogun State. And that's a project that transverses from agro-processing into construction. And we're also talking about cotton. You have cotton growing zone in Ogun State. There are some entrepreneurs who brought to you the last time, Governor, who want to invest in the cotton, textile, and garment value chain. They want to move from farm to fashion, grow cotton, process the cotton, establish textile factories, and also go into garmenting. And for them, one of the most important attractions for them is that from Ogun State they can export to the rest of the world. They are currently based in Kenya. From Mombasa to Europe and from Mombasa to the US, the shipment time is very long. And they believe if they invest in Ogun State, it's close to Lagos, and that can reduce the shipment time. And then, if they have access to the West African market, the population in Nigeria is almost 170 million. The ECOWAS market is about 300 million, and from here they can also export to Europe and from the United States of America. So these are some of the ventures we finance at the Bank of Industry, right? Talking about agro-processing, they make contribution to the construction industry and to all other areas. Because agriculture provides raw materials for industries in addition to food, right? We also have limestone here, production of cement, and that's why someone from Lafarge said Ogun State has the highest concentration of cement in Africa. So those are the areas where we intervene, and we have partnerships with about 19 state governments now, and we help them in these critical areas. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Such a good round of applause.